All right, so last week we talked about discipline, and it was very much something that's so robust and so deep that we decided to come back. And in terms of discipline, I broke it down and what it meant and how it could just be a part of your life. But now I want to give you some practical tools in terms of how do we be disciplined and apply it. Welcome to the Basics of Bossing Up. I am Allie Love, where we discuss basic principles in order to create the lives that we want, but ultimately the lives that we deserve. Today, we're talking about discipline part 2. So we talked about what it is. In terms of discipline is you staying the course, you obeying the rules, the structure that you set out for your success, for yourself. So the structure, implement your strategy equals success. That is what you stay true to. That's what you focus on. And we talked about how it connects to your routine. So most times when you have a routine, sometimes what ends up happening is you get knocked off that routine because of some unexpected circumstances. And discipline kicks in terms of if you can't get what you're supposed to get done now, you put yourself back on the timeline, get yourself back on the course to get a result that really works for you. Well, in this particular video, we want to discuss how do we do that? How do we really apply discipline? The first thing that comes up for me in being a disciplined person is having contingency plans. A lot of us think that one way is going to be the only way and the best way. There are plenty of ways to do one thing correctly. And a lot of you are probably thinking about math where you're like, no, it's only one answer, which you got it. But what I'm saying is that it can take different concepts, ideas to basically show you how 2 + 2 = 4. Maybe you don't look at them as numbers. Maybe you look at them as apples. Maybe you look at it as money. So there are many ways to digest information to get to the correct solution. And with that, in being disciplined, you want to have a contingency plan. So what I mean by that is when you structure out your routine during the week, whether every Tuesday you focus on one thing or every day you focus on getting one thing done, keep in mind that if you don't get that one thing done, have you carved out a contingency plan, carved out time. That's contingency. If you carved out someone that you can ask to fill in for you if something happens. For example, if you're the only one at your job that does your job and it's a team of one, or you're an entrepreneur, is there anyone that you can rely on or tap in? Your assistant, your next in command, the person in brand partnership, your work husband, work wife, work partner. You know, we all have those kind of people. Can you tap them in? Are they ready to help you in the event that you need help? Discipline is not always, again, you being super rigid and deciding that you're going to do this at no cost. While it is important to have a non-negotiable, that when your friends ask you to go out for social time and you still have things to get done, that you are disciplined enough that you obey the structure, the rules that you've implemented and put in place for yourself to be successful, that you obey those more than giving in to peer pressure or to, things that are a little bit more sociable. So again, understanding that that's important. Keep in mind that if something really happens and you have to deviate from studying for an exam tomorrow, that's really big. Something tragic happens or something unfortunate happens or something that just really needs your attention immediately. Do you have a contingency plan on when you can pick up time to study? What can you do? Can you push the test back? Make sure you put yourself in a position where there's a contingency plan. There's someone who can fill in for you. There's someone you can tap on. There's someone you can ask for advice. Having that is really, really important in terms of being a disciplined person. Again, I always bring it back to ballet. In the moment where, yes, we were sick, we'd miss class, but we'd have to make it up in a class that was not in our schedule. That is discipline. Being able to have a contingency. If you miss a class, if you miss a workshop, if you miss an opportunity, being able to be disciplined enough to make it up, to figure it out, to make sure it gets done. Because if you have your routine, if you have your structure, and you are really not hitting those markers or those goals for success, then it will not get the result that you want, which is ultimately that success. So I hope that was one thing, because I could talk about this actually all day. So that was one thing that I thought about in terms of being disciplined. What is the how-to? The how-to is building in your calendar extra time if you don't make it with your trainer. What are the additional days that he's available, she's available, or they're available for you to pick up an hour with them? So what I mean by that is if you always go on Mondays and Wednesdays, have you already sat down with your trainer and say, you know what, this is a non-negotiable. I want to be very disciplined and dedicated to my self-care called personal training, getting my personal trainer in. Have you already troubleshot? Have you already kind of sat down and say, what are additional days in the event something comes up at my kid's school, or I get called into work and I have to be there? Let me already have that contingency plan in place. Same thing at work, same thing in professional and personal settings. So with you being very disciplined, pad yourself, cushion yourself, because it is a bumpy ride. But what you want to know is when a big bump comes, that you know how to navigate in your life to just not all fall apart, that you thought about those moments and that you're aware, and that you, again, structure, that you've been so disciplined and thorough in your structure that it equals the success, the results that you want. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create the lives we ultimately want. So again, talking a mile a minute, because I'm very passionate about discipline. It definitely is the only way to success, is that if you work for it. True success. Anyways, all right, that's the basics of bossing up. Comment below, please. Discipline round 2, part 2. We want to hear from you. This is a conversation. If you are running a business or you are a consumer that has some concepts or ideas or feedback or statements, please share them. All right, peace and love. Bye, y'all.